Is your gut fiber fit? Your gut does a lot more than just digest food, and it relies largely on fiber to work. These days, we're not getting enough fiber, and as a result, we may have less than optimal gut health. What is fiber? Fiber, or roughage, comes from plant foods, and it's the part that our bodies can't fully digest. It's super important because it bulks up meals to help us feel fuller and promotes movement of food through the digestive tract to help with nourishment and to remove waste. But did you know that fiber feeds the good bacteria living in your gut? And especially fiber from grains, which helps the good bugs to grow in numbers. Without fiber, your good bacteria can starve. When the good bacteria are well fed, they grow and thrive. These good bacteria then work to help support your digestive health. Are you ready to fiber up? Getting more fiber is as easy as making a few healthy choices. Start the day with a fiber or whole grain breakfast cereal and add some fruit. Throw a handful of oats or a little bran into your smoothie. Have a wholemeal sandwich with salad at lunchtime. Munch on nuts and seeds when you're feeling peckish. And add at least one veggie to dinner with a little cooked grains.
For all of my life, I've been told that eating vegetables and whole grains is good for me, and that eating saturated animal fats is bad for me. Now, if you're watching this channel, I'm sure you're well aware that it's quite the opposite, and that these animal fats aren't bad for us. Unfortunately, in modern times, it is so stuck in people's mindsets that they just do not question it anymore. It's just set in stone that vegetables are good and animal fats are bad. Now, in case you haven't noticed it, we've got a bit of a problem in Western societies. Everyone is getting overweight. Now, why is this the case? Not only are they getting overweight, but they're getting sick and unhealthy. People are not getting the nutrients they need, and they're having all of these health problems. A lot of people love to blame McDonald's and put up those images of the cheesy hamburgers. Now, I'm not saying McDonald's is good for you, but it certainly isn't the root cause of all of our health problems and the obesity problem. That is caused by the staples that we're eating every single day. When you go to the shopping center, the staple foods that we're consuming on a daily basis, and the foods that we're teaching our children to eat, because we pass on that wisdom of nutrition to our children. Now, when people go into the shopping center on a tight budget, they're going to naturally buy the things that they firstly believe are reasonably healthy, and then from there, price will dictate it. Now, unfortunately, it's bad enough that people believe in the whole grain and vegetable and non-animal fat type of thing. But this is further amplified by the fact that these very foods that they're telling us are healthy are actually the cheapest ones to buy. Not only that, but the foods that they tell us are unhealthy tend to be more expensive, such as seafoods and high quality animal foods. But when you walk around the shopping center, you can easily see that the cheap things are your breads and your cereals and margarines and vegetable oils. Those are the things that we're told are healthy, and those are the things that are really cheap to buy. There are some animal products that are cheap, but unfortunately those are the most low quality animal products you can get. Things such as chicken breast and the low quality pasteurized dairy that who knows where it's been produced. It could have been produced in really tight space. These cows may just be in a tight space and not eating fresh pasture. And then of course all the nutrients are destroyed from when they're pasteurized. And on top of that, because of this whole low fat nonsense we're still in, people tend to buy low fat dairy thinking that's the healthy option. Here in Australia, about 80% of dairy products are all low fat. Sometimes it's very hard to find a full fat yogurt nowadays. It's crazy. So I want to look at this lady who is on a tight budget. She has a YouTube channel in Australia, and she talks about the foods that she buys for herself and a family of 4. Now this will be interesting to watch because this person has based their knowledge presumably on the same mindset that most of us have, and then on top of that they have a strict budget. So let's see what some of the choices are that she makes for her and her growing children.
I got a couple of margarines, one to put in the freezer and one to put in the fridge. We won't go through all of this in a month. I just decided to get 2 because I think they're like $1.50 each. We don't pay much for them.
So she's buying margarine here. It's just trans fat. It's hydrogenated vegetable oil, so it's really bad for your heart health and your arteries. That's the thing that's going to lead to heart disease. It's quite the opposite of animal products. But again, it's such commonplace that she doesn't even question whether it's healthy or not. She doesn't even question what that's going to be doing in your body. It's an artificial product. It's trying to mimic real butter, and she's feeding this to her children and presumably putting it on white bread. So that's two of the worst foods for you, but she's giving it to her children thinking it's healthful because it's not some nasty animal food and because it's on some sort of grain. And her number one reason is because it's cheap.
This time I got 2 big tubs of Yoplait. I love Yoplait yogurt, and buying the tubs is really expensive. This is around $4 for this. I got 2 of those, and
This yogurt is just all pasteurized and full of sugar. These are cheap just because they're mass produced.
I got chicken.
So a meat product here, it's cheap because it's low fat. It's just chicken breast that's been grown up living in a cage. Unfortunately, it's cheap because of the way it's produced and the extra wheat they use on the outside.
I got fruit salad, big tins. I'm just going to break them up into little containers, 1 tin at a time.
Canned fruit, it's just sugar. It's destroyed all the vitamin C, and it's just a sugar basically. Nightshade vegetables. Vegetables are much cheaper to produce than something like meat because they grow fast. Zucchini and pumpkin, it's much less damaging, especially if you peel the skin off the zucchini. They're in the squash family, so they're kind of like a fruit, and they're fairly low in oxalates and the other anti-nutrients. So if you really want to eat some vegetables, then these options are pretty good. And especially if you boil them quite a lot, it's going to neutralize a lot of those anti-nutrients.
I got bubble bars.
Bubble bars. So this is the type of crap that parents put in their kids' lunch boxes on a daily basis when they're going to school. This is one of the worst things that parents could do. These muesli bars and bubble bars, all they are is candy. They're just candy bars. I don't know, I cannot believe parents don't see this. They're loaded with sugar, and I would bet that they're actually worse than a candy bar because they contain these whole grains like oats. So when you're consuming oats, even on their own, they're full of phytic acid and anti-nutrients. They're just going to lead to tooth decay and slow down the development of the child. Now, on top of that, they've got all the sugar, but the actual whole grains are the worst part of this. And ironically, that's why these parents think it's healthy. They think, oh, it's whole grains, and they just have it in their head that these whole grains and oats are good for you. Muesli bars, it's just candy disguised as something healthful, and it makes me so mad that parents give this to their children because they don't know. It's not the parents' fault. They've just been told that this is healthy. There's the naivety as well. They should be at least checking ingredients and thinking, oh shit, this is like 30% sugar. Shit, this has got phytic acid. But unfortunately, they don't know. Again, they just blindly don't question these things that we've been told. Those roll-ups, they had a 3-star rating. I have no idea how that could even get past 1 star. It's just sugar. Just because it contains dried fruit does not make it healthy. Fruit-flavored sugar roll, it should not get any stars. And it definitely doesn't belong in a child's lunchbox.
As well as these, I don't even know what these, Goodoo's or something. So I've opened it for Isabella. I'm going to show you what it looks like inside because I've never seen what these look like inside.
Look at this, it's got 1 star. I actually agree with this star rating on this product. Congratulations. I think because parents, they take that step in believing, well, muesli bars are healthy, and then they see muesli bars with choc chips. They're just thinking, well, it's a little bit of chocolate, so that's okay. And then they take it a step further, and then they get the ones with the colorful sprinkles, and then they think, oh, well, these Skidoos, it's kind of like a muesli bar. They're associating with a product they believe is healthful, and next thing you know, you're giving your kids candy bars for their lunch. You may as well just give them Mars bars.
Or maybe a dessert after dinner or something, but this is what it looks like inside. Oh my gosh. And the bubble bars we do normally get, and they're under $2 as well. So I just got 6 of those. Roll-ups are on special at Coles for $3 a box. I'm going to try and make Stacey's roll-ups because my kids have had hers before and they like them. So I think I might try to make them, but I just got these in the meantime. Oh, this is another impulsy little buy. Joseph, I got this for Joseph. These are at the registers. Ooh, focus. They're like Pringles, but they're a little snack cup. They're like under $1, and I just got it for
Well, it's
Joseph
under $1,
tonight. So when he's
okay,
watching
right.
a show, because it's school holidays, I thought
These
just a little
products are
treat for
cheap.
him. So I got
Again,
those.
I'm not trying to talk bad about this lady, but on a budget, it's cheaper to buy these grain and vegetable-based foods. These products are very high in sugar and anti-nutrients. Don't give them to your children.
Legos here. I think I just explained that before. You would have seen that in the video. So
That's a lot of pasta sauce. I think I know what's for dinner.
pizza shapes. I would not normally buy these. Again, the kids were with me. It was a little school holiday treat I decided to get for them. I think they were $2.99 for.
All this packaged food, it's cheap. Very cheap to produce wheat. All of these products are based on wheat. So look at this. Look at these 3 products. We've got barbecue shapes or whatever shapes. We've got 2-minute noodles, and we've got pretzels. Do you know what all these 3 foods have in common? And you know what the 90% ingredient is in these foods? It's all wheat. If you broke these 3 foods down into their raw ingredients, you would have 3 piles of wheat flour and a few flavorings and salt and a little bit of oil to make it more palatable. That's all it is, but it's disguised as these 3 different types of things.
So I got those for that. Just the popcorn from Aldi, which we love. Awesome. That's actually fairly healthy. Like, it's just got oil and for popping, obviously, popping the corn and some salt, and that's it. So they're really good to have. They're about $2.50. More Wheat Bix Bites cereal for us. They're $4 a box.
Okay, here we go. So she's giving cereal. That doesn't surprise me at all. She's giving cereal to her kids and herself for breakfast. The classic Wheat Bix doesn't have much added sugar, so it's really, really plain. So people tend to put sugar on top. Now this flavored one, it's probably about 28% sugar. I'm pretty sure it's 28% sugar. So it's just sugar and fruit flavored wheat, so it's anti-nutrients. It's really cheap, and that's why people buy these products. If she realized that cereals are bad for you, she might look at something else. But again, she's stuck in this preconception that whole grains are good for you, so don't read the label. If it's cheap and it's whole grains, then that's okay.
More Wheat Bix Bites cereal for us. They're $4 a box. Savoys were on special for, I think, $1.60 a box. And we do like Savoys the best, but we do, if we don't buy Savoys of these, we buy the Aldi brand, which is about $1.39. So
again, it's wheat. Look at all of these products. The last 8 products we've looked at, except for the nachos, it's all wheat. Everything is wheat. She thinks these are different things because they're all packaged and made differently, but they are all wheat. She thinks these are different products, but they're not. They're all the same thing. It's just wheat, wheat, wheat. You notice there's a common theme here. Wheat is cheap. They just disguise it in different ways to make you think you're getting different things.
they won't go to waste for sure. I did spend extra on pasta this month. You know, if you're a long watcher, you know I love San Remo, the brand, but it is a lot more expensive. It's like double, nearly triple the price sometimes, so as opposed to the Aldi one. But I just love the taste of this. I do. So
I know I've said it a million times, but can you guess what the common ingredient is in all of these foods? So it's just all wheat, of course. It's crazy. I'd never realized how blind people are before. But look at this. We have wheat tortillas. We have wheat spaghetti. We have wheat spirals. We have wheat sheets, the lasagna. It's all the same thing in different formats. And the only thing that makes it taste a different food is the way they cook it and the flavorings they put on it. So pasta sauce or whatever they're going to wrap in the tortillas, it's still the same thing. And it just shows that wheat is the cheapest thing to produce. So this lady would obviously buy bread as well for the sandwiches she's making. But you can see the common theme going along here. People are kind of being forced to buy these types of foods based on their budget and based on their beliefs of what they've been told. Sadly, this is the root cause of all the health problems. People never go back and blame the shopping centres, the subsidised wheat in products. they never blame that sort of thing. They're just going to blame McDonald's. And you know, I would argue that a McDonald's hamburger has more nutrition in it than a lot of these sort of foods this lady's cooking for dinner. So it's these staples that are to blame, these foods that people are eating on a day-to-day basis and giving to their families and teaching their children what food really is. Because think about it, when you grew up, your parents gave you certain foods. And of course, when you get older and you leave home and you start to make your own food, what do? You replicate what your parents did. And it's not saying your parents are bad. You know, I never blame the parents. I know that parents do the best they know how to do. Unfortunately, we're just really misguided. And so eating these wheat-based foods and vegetable oil-based foods and diets that are deficient in so many of the absolutely critical animal foods and fatty animal foods and seafoods, that is the root problem to the disease, the obesity, and all of these problems we're seeing today. It's all based around inflammation and lack of nutrients. Do you see these people on frugal budgets going out and buying oysters and crab and salmon for their kids? No, and it's really sad that those foods are expensive. Those foods are expensive to produce. Unless you go out and catch them yourself, and you know, that's a whole other video. I catch some of my own seafood. Tell me if you want to watch that. I'll show you that video another time. But unless they're doing that, getting these foods for free, they're just stuck with these. So we're kind of stuck in this place right now, and you might say, well, what can we do? I really believe that if you look around, you can find highly nutritious foods on a tight budget. I just made a video recently being keto and carnivore on a tight budget, and you can see there are certain foods that you can get cheaply. So if I was on a really tight budget, I would be shopping around and finding these high quality animal products. I'd be swapping the butter out, the margarine out with the butter, because that's almost the same price, but you're getting a far more superior product. Looking around local suppliers, looking for cheaper options. But again, it comes down to education. If this lady really knew what was healthy and how unhealthy these foods were, she would probably put in the effort to go and look around at local suppliers, local meat providers, local seafood providers, and try to find some cheaper options, at least in place of some of those really nasty foods.